anything else.
We don't want to know.
We're dedicated, yes.
To our favorite shows.
Oh, my circuit!
Everybody loves Hippo
Scary dog!
Dancing at Blurnsville.
Futurama.
Good evening. You are listening to a Radulich Broadcasting Premier Podcast TV Party Tonight. I'm your host, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. And tonight, the Podsmen get up on their horse and ride again as we tackle yet another wrestling event. This time, it's WWE Superstar Spectacle. Yes, this was a taped event that aired on India's Republic Day, specifically for the Indian market. It was sort of a marketing event that they did to test the waters for an NXT India brand and training center, but also it was a part of the deal that they made with Sony Pictures Networks India. So this was a 2-hour taped event that aired on the Sony networks over there and on the WWE network over here. Joining me tonight, as I said before, are the two Podsmen. First, he is the Lone Ranger of X-Lapsed. Ladies and gentlemen, he is Chris Sheehan. How do you do, sir?
Oh boy, I'm about wasted after this spectacle this morning. Holy smokes. Oh, Lord. I mean, I didn't know WWE still put out Velocity. I thought that show got canceled 20 years ago. Whew. This is going to be an interesting one. Actually, it's going to be a very dull one, but it's going to be interesting how we spin it.
And speaking of spinning, around and around he goes. He is the other Podsman. He is the captain of the superhero satellite, if one can be a captain of such things. Ladies and gentlemen, the toy maker himself, the toy master, Chris Bailey, how do you do?
Well, I'm glad I'm not Indian today because I would be buried underwater with the rest of the talent on this show. Holy cow! We got stuff to say about this.
Yeah. Let me just say that all of the fine individuals who were a part of this show, Guru Raj and Dilsher Shanky, Giant Zangia, Jeet Rama, Serena Sandhu, Indus Shear, they've all wanted to be wrestling superstars, WWE superstars since they were little children, and they're just all so happy to be here. Every single fucking one of them. They're just so happy to be a part of.
I see big things in that Giants' future because he said his idols are Triple H and Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah, he read that from the cue card real well.
He's making that Stan Lee money. Yes, sir. I love Stan Lee.
But they're all
Make
so
that
happy
money.
to be here. Just so happy.
Happy to be here.
They're so happy. It's their dream come true since they were young. Don't you understand? All they've ever wanted in life was every fucking one of them was wanting to be
stand over by that ditch so we can shoot them.
Hey, you stand over by the mud.
Oh, man.
I have an apartment in New Delhi. Look, you're from a dirt farm in Walla Walla, Pakistan, okay? Shut up.
Brutal.
Walla Walla, Pakistan. I think I insulted at least 10 million people with that joke.
That's a thing.
So, Christian, what I'm trying to say is not a lot of differentiation in the packages telling us who these people were. Not a lot. That's my first criticism of this whole thing. Like, the wrestling was wrestling, and we'll talk about the matches in just a second. But as far as, like, the overall presentation, on the one hand, WWE gives good package. They really know how to edit a biography together and can give you a sense of who the person is. The downside to that is when they're all the same person of various heights and genders, it got a little grating after a while.
Well, you're right. I mean, if this is supposed to be a new brand or a new division or a new whatever the hell it's supposed to be, everybody here is an inspiration to millions, a hero, a national hero, a dreamer whose dreams are being recognized. Are they all going to fight Jinder Mahal every week? I don't understand that. How do you build a brand around all of these people who are just inspirations and heroes and national treasures.
And athletes. Don't forget that they're athletes. Every single one of them, no matter how chubby they were, no matter how undefined their torso area is, no matter how fat they are, they were all super athletes in multiple sports across the subcontinent of India.
Oh, yeah, they held records in all sorts of things, hot dog eating, weightlifting, truck pulling, camel, I don't know.
I think one of them might have been a dentist.
Don't we already have one of those?
a dentist or some sort of medical professional. Do you see what we're saying here, Bailey? I know you're chortling over there at us, kind of poking fun at this, but I mean, I miss a show like this. Made me miss the days of plumbers and hockey players and baseball players and dentists and Salvatore sincerely, Bailey, sincerely.
They did nothing with these guys. Like, oh my God. So you talk about, we're going to start the match. I mean, Finn Balor started out with Guru Raj, I guess his name was.
Yeah.
And this, of course, was non-title. It wasn't for the NXT championship. So, you're thinking out of the gate that they're going to launch one of, India's greatest talents, and this guy was going to come out and he's going to look really good. So just for perspective, I mean, New Japan Pro Wrestling, like when they present their Japanese product to the U.S., it's slick. The great video packages. These guys come out in ornate costumes, fireworks, all the razzle-dazzle, and you're bought in right away. Like, wow, I'm missing something amazing over in Japan. This guy comes out, and it looked like he forgot his suitcase, and he was left with only his underwear. He walks out on stage with the little pot-belly gut, and he gets in the ring, and he wrestles around, and I mean, this is the type of match where, like, I don't know how long this guy's been training, but he looks like my son if I said, hey, let's go wrestle on the bed. Like, it was really, really rough.
And did you see the package on him? The package on him was like, he was, again, master of all. He was like Indian Mr. Perfect. He's been in all the sports. He's supposed to be like super athletic. And he comes out, and he looks like a guy that Don King just called up to substitute for Mahmood Char in a heavyweight fight.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? In the package, he's a good-looking kid, but then he starts to wrestle. And Mark, it's about as basic as you're going to get. He was missing spots. He didn't do anything high-flying. I mean, he gave the guy almost like a back brain kick, almost missed it completely. And then at the very end, to make matters worse, all the wrestlers had to show respect because these guys, they're trying their best. And I mean, did Mario Mancini ever get respect from Macho Man Randy Savage for being squashed in 30 seconds? Hell no. He got his ass thrown out of the ring.
But instead, didn't they pitch him as like a martial artist?
Yes, he was terrible.
Yeah, totally.
What was he kicking? Like, did he actually kick anything before? Because I think martial arts starts with, at least some grappling and some kicking. This guy had no idea. Like, it was super, super, super basic. The guy, wasn't even in the same territory with Finn Balor, yet Balor had to lift him off the ring and nod his head and go, yeah, buddy, you suck.
My God, Ernest the Cat Miller, who was like a karate guy before he joined WCW, was able to emulate like martial arts while being a wrestler. And he's Ernest the Cat Miller.
Ernest Miller found his way. You watched the latter part of Ernest Miller, there was no issue with that guy's talent at the end of his run.
So yeah, you've already touched on a lot of points. I'm going to throw it over to Sheehan in just a second. Finn Balor defeated Guru Raj. They don't even have times on this. In minutes. And yeah, it was like, I think Finn Balor was trying to drag a decent match out of this guy, and they made it sound like he's been at the Performance Center a while, he's a super athlete, and they just, it was an awkward kind of blah match, right, Sheehan?
Sheehan still there?
Did we lose Sheehan?
There you are. You guys vanished for a minute there. What was the question?
I said it was kind of a blah match, awkward and blah.
That's putting it as nicely as we can. This was a prelim match. It didn't help Balor. It certainly didn't help whatever his face was. It just It didn't start the show hot, and I mean there's a big problem with the presentation of this overall because it doesn't look any different from anything else. I don't know why we're supposed to feel like this is something special. This is just another Thunderdome a night where nothing feels different. I mean, at least when they're in England or something, they'll put the damn phone booth on the stage or some shit, right? Nothing here. This was just, okay, we're going to change the colors of the lights and have some Superstars matches. Maybe that's why they called it Superstar Spectacle, because this is basically an episode of Superstars. The match was what it was. I think I turned around for a second, came back, and it's like, oh, Balor stomped on him. It's over. Great. Not a big deal.
So Guru actually goes to hit one of his big moves, and he gets to that top rope, and I'm like, oh, here we go. We're going to finally see some athletic prowess. What he's been training all this time for. And he hits a cross body block. Now, when I think of cross body blocks, I think of like the sweet science of Ricky Steamboat soaring off, you know what I mean? Hanging in the air for a little while. This is like if you pushed a rock off a rooftop. He just fell, like gravity took over, and he just collapsed on top of Balor. And Balor almost got like a near fall loss to this idiot. I couldn't stand this match. It was terrible.
He was shooting on him.
Oh.
Like, I get what WWE was trying to do, but this is an overall criticism of their entire product. Anything that, and you kind of hit on it before, like when they used to go to England, or like the NXT takeovers, they made the set resemble, there was something symbolic on the set of the city that they were in, and the old WWE pay-per-views, they used to make the set like really interesting and fun looking. The WWE like switched gears a few years ago, and it was like everything has to look the same. Everything has to be uniform.
It's hospital food.
Yeah, everything has to be completely like sanitized of any personality. And so, on the one hand, it was like, okay, we're going to feature all our Indian talent. Okay, just because they're Indian and they were athletes in their own country and they may be athletic, doesn't mean they're ready for television. And it was like none of that was considered here. It was like, we'll just throw them out there. The fact that they'll get over with the virtual crowd and the television audience, I guess, because they're the hometown heroes. And we're going to start off the night by beating one of them flat.
Yeah, I think the hometown crowd, because they were cheering pretty good for this one. I think they actually aired a match with Steamboat and Flair from Chi-Town Rumble 89. Nobody actually saw the Balor match.
All right, so the next one, and only the WWE could be like, all right, what if we put the shortest, smallest guys on the roster with two gigantic Indian guys that look like Indian versions of Kane and Motorcycle Undertaker coming out? It was Dilsher Shanky and Giant Zangier, who are both like in the 7-foot area, and I want to say like maybe Dilsher Shanky might have actually been taller by an inch or two than Giant Zangier. It was pretty impressive. And they came out with Mysterio and Ricochet, and they took on Bayley. We talked about the Survivor Series from years ago, where it would just be like a collection of random heels. It's Dolph Ziggler without his partner, King Corbin without his court, Shinsuke Nakamura wandered his way to the ring, and
he knows a babyface now.
And and Cesaro made his appearance on the show, seeing as they have nothing else for him to do other than to show up on random WWE shows hither and thither. And they did, they tried to keep. This was 6 guys dancing and shaking and running about, trying to hide the fact that the 2 big guys who were featured in the match aren't good. Like, they tried their hardest. They bumped everywhere. They tried to keep them out of the ring, and it was like when they have like a celebrity involved. Like, do you remember WCW where they had Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman, and Karl Malone would like get in, do one thing, and run away again? And DDP ran from one end of the ring to the other and back again to try to make it look like Karl Malone was moving. That's kind of what happened here. What did you think of this one, Sheehan?
I think these 2 giants really they pulled off something I never thought was possible, and that was make Great Khali look mobile. I mean, and charismatic. because these two, holy smokes, this was like who was that guy on like the second season of the NXT reality show? Eli Cottonwood, was it?
Oh yeah, like Eli Cottonwood. Yep.
Like he looked like he was built out of popsicle sticks, right? With about as much flexibility and points of articulation. These guys were just like that. Like, I don't know how they moved without shattering, because they were just so wonky and slow. And like you put it, Mark, these other guys were just bumping like crazy trying to get these guys, trying to hide the negatives. And I mean, one of them in the closing of the match was used as furniture. And that was the highlight, was one of the giants being used as furniture for Rey Mysterio.
You know, it was a fun spot that they did, only they took what was fun about it and kind of ruined it. So Rey Mysterio climbs up to the turnbuckle. Now, Rey Mysterio, known for high flying and crisp hurricanranas and damaging his knee. We all know this about Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio apparently has gotten so big, in his torso and his thighs, and so immobile that he can't do the high flying like he used to. And so instead of doing what would have been cool, which is to climb on top of Dilsher Shanky and jump off of his shoulders, which would have put him a little further up than the top rope did, they walked over to whoever it was they pinned in this. I think it might have been Dolph Ziggler, and just dropped Rey Mysterio. Like
he was taking a page out of Raha, whatever his face is.
It was Cesaro.
It was okay. But you see what I mean? Like, instead of like jumping off his shoulders and making the distance, which apparently he thought he couldn't do, they just like dumped him off an elevator shaft, and he fell on Cesaro, and that was the final spot. Bailey, woohoo!
Let me ask you a question, Mark. If you were on the shoulders of Dilsher Shanky, or Giant Zangier, are you jumping a distance? Like, are you allowing this guy to hold your life in his hands? Hell no. Anyone named Dilsher Shanky is not holding my life in his hands. So good on Rey Mysterio for recognizing that this could go bad in a second. So, I mean, this was just, like, you're talking about the presentation. So video packages were pretty darn good for Giant, Zangier. He basically sucked the pole of the great Khali. You know what I mean? He got me in, he got my job, I'm going to be the champ. Then comes out Dilsher Shanky, who comes out in like a black tank top, a pair of jogging pants, and some sneakers. And man, for a giant, he couldn't have looked less imposing. Like, I just don't understand. You got Ziggler, Corbin, and Cesaro, and Nakamura, who Sheehan pointed out, he's supposed to be a good guy, is he not? What is he doing here?
As we'll see later on in the show, they bring out this group of musicians and dancers. I don't remember what their name was. It was like Zoot Suit Riot or something like that.
Cherry Poppin' Daddies.
Yeah. The Brian Setzer Orchestra. I don't know what their name was. But Stray they were... So Sha Na Na comes out. And
the B-52s.
So the Go-Go's come out, and
ABBA. Okay, I'll say it.
All right, I'll walk the Bangles, and huh? Did I win? All right,
Bananarama.
Damn it! So the entire chorus of "We Are the World" walked out.
The Rockettes.
And they're all in colorful costumes. They've got like that. That's the thing about like the Indian culture is there's always a lot of vibrance and a lot of color to anything that we've ever seen. Like Bollywood, for what not that I'm an expert in Bollywood cinema or anything like that, but from what the little bit that I've gathered is whenever I've catered one or two Indian weddings, there's always, if there's one thing you can say about it, there's always so much color. Like everything is just brightly colored. It is like Ted Turner came along and sprinkled Technicolor on everything, and boom! It's like that first moment that you walked out into the color part of the Wizard of Oz. It's amazing, and like the first three Indian guys that we see all come out in black.
Like, if they had black, I mean, oh my God! It's like I said, it looked like one guy was literally wrestling in his underwear, his briefs, because he forgot his clothes. I mean, very, very basic attire. Like they did nothing to brighten these guys up or have a great entrance. Like no fireworks, no cool video package pyro, nothing. Like it was like dead air, and this is their show, their introduction, and this is what you do. Whew, misfire.
No one comes out with an Indian flag. Like later on, we'll talk about Jinder Mahal, and I'm going to come to the defense of Jinder Mahal, so get ready for that, audience. But, like, other than Jinder Mahal, nobody comes out with any color. Nobody comes out with the Indian flag. Like, if you didn't tell me this was a special directed for an Indian audience in India, they could have been anybody. Like this, like, you know, you guys keep making fun of, like, this could have been Velocity. This could have been Sunday Night Heat with just some guys that aren't American, and you'd be right. There was nothing other than the dance routine and some of the color. There was nothing that told me these guys were any different than any schmo that they have at the Performance Center. And the only reason, this is like the Saudi Arabian show, where the only reason the one guy shows up is because he's a Saudi, and then Mansoor. Mansoor, and it's like, then you never see him again. And then when he comes out, he doesn't do a robe or anything. He's just in white pants. White pants. That's it. Like, that's like the company that most successfully does television of any professional wrestling organization on earth forgets how to do television from time to time. And it's like, can we make this as bland and uninteresting as possible? And that's what I got out of these first two matches. Then we go into AJ Styles with Omos taking on Indian Ken Patera, otherwise known as Jeet Rama.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to Jeet Street, guys. Jeet Street.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's charisma.
Apparently, the two things I learned about this guy in his package was that he was another... I called him Indian Ken Patera because he looked like a weightlifter dude, but was he like an Indian wrestler? Was that his deal? Like a legit wrestler?
I think he was like an all country or something like that. He was he had some sort of amateur credentials and accolades. Okay. At least that's what Michael Cole said, and he wouldn't lie.
Okay. And apparently he also injures himself a lot. Like those would
see that.
Yeah.
That's what I got out of their whole presentation of him, was that he was a legit medaled athlete of some distinction, and that he had been off television. He had been on television inconsistently because of injuries, and I'm like, super. And he got beat.
Can I chime in here for 1 second, because I love this. So just a trivia question on what for you two guys. Ready? What happens to injury-prone wrestlers in the WWE? You guys go. What happens?
They get fired?
Or end up on Impact Wrestling, cutting a promo saying that they've been discriminated against and they're being held back.
Yes,
yep.
That too.
So, welcome to Impact, Jeet.
We know who that is.
That's all. This is my time. All right.
As long as he comes out dressed like Liberace, it's okay.
That at least it had some personality to him. Jesus.
Man.
Anyway, if you're keeping track, the WWE, the non-Indian guy wins the first match. The good guys featuring two Indians win the second match. In the third match, the Indian guy loses again.
Mm-hmm. Listen, even in the second match, the tag team match, they still made Mysterio get the pin, so they still didn't put over the Indian talent.
Well, that other guy put his foot on his back, so he got him over the hump. He got him over the hump.
That's illegal.
Not in India.
Indian rules.
Mm-hmm.
Let me stick with you, Billy. What did you actually think of AJ? Do you think AJ Styles was able to pull a decent match out of Jeet Rama?
Actually, he didn't. He didn't at all. This match was extremely like a big letdown. There was a few suplexes that he managed on Styles, but Styles was basically doing cartwheels and flips, and this guy was doing some extremely basic mat wrestling, and it was a challenge to get through. I'm telling you now. But I tell you what, one redeeming factor in this entire match was Styles may have murdered him with that flying elbow at the end there. Holy smokes. I think he literally murdered him. He went down like he got shot in the back of the head. It was great. I wanted him dead. Fuck Jeet.
Oh, okay then. What did you think of this match, Sheehan?
Like Bailey said, I got kind of excited when I saw the throws, the suplexes, because they looked pretty decent, but that was it. That was it. And then, I mean, he looked like an absolute goober at the end here. They did the spot on the corner where almost held Styles before he could do a belly to belly off the top, and Jeet went flying, and must have just stumbled around the ring for 3 minutes while Styles got ready to do the forearm, because there was no moves in between that and the forearm. Dude just stood there waiting for it, and he got it. And that was it.
He got it. Whoa.
Yeah.
Good.
In the next segment, Xavier Woods and...
Can I just say it's really good to see the New Day back together after their breakup. I mean, it's been so long since we've seen these guys together. So this was so awesome. This is like every DX reunion in one here. It's really, really special. Really special.
It's your boys, the New Day. Woo! Yeah!
Yeah. The New Day, Xavier Woods and Big E came out to announce the dance troupe, the drumming and dance troupe. That's it. That's what they came to do. Only they couldn't do it alone. They had to bring out the Greek chorus.
Mm-hmm. Comedy.
Oh.
The fucking Street Profits. So the Street Profits and the New Day shared an introduction of an Indian song and dance troupe. That was the whole segment. I can't tell you if the segment was any good. What I heard was okay if you enjoy that kind of music. But I can't tell you if the entire segment was any good because I was on my phone through this entire thing. Nobody came out to interrupt it. Nobody came out and be like, you dirty Indians. Nothing. They just came out, did a thing that had nothing to do with wrestling, and then fucked off. India.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
And I think they should keep doing this. I think what's been missing from wrestling for the last 20 years has been the Nitro Girls.
I'll co-sign
Hey.
that.
Hell yes.
So I think wrestling should absolutely be peppered with random dance routines.
Yeah, listen, you can't do the Nitro Girls anymore. It's considered sexist. So now you're going to have a black guy, a Chinese girl, a transgender. You'll have them all.
Someone in a wheelchair.
I honestly think that they should... The WWE should partner with... what's the name of it? The gymnast ballet troupe. Circus du Soleil.
The Soleil?
Yeah. I think they should have a Circus du Soleil routine in the middle of every WWE telecast.
Sure.
Yeah. What do you think? Yeah.
Whenever they go back to the Garden, they should open the inaugural show of the Garden with the Rockettes. They go to Vegas, they should do the Blue Man Group.
Yeah.
We're certainly not focused on wrestling in the WWE, so why not?
Why not? Exactly. Why not?
All right,
Siegfried and Roy still a thing? They can probably do something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Just have the spot where the tiger eats the guy and it's good.
There you go.
Might be too...
The tiger will be played by Jeet Rama.
Might be too violent for the WWE crowd. Can someone just explain to me why they needed 4 people to do this one introduction? They could have, for less money and time and possibly a sack of peanuts, they could have had Teddy Long come out and go, and hey, player, and shuffle on one leg across the stage and then say singing and dance troupe and then fuck off. Why did we need 4 wrestlers for this? Did you not
understand that this was comedy? This was funny. Did you not get that?
It's
very funny.
Oh, okay.
Holy cow.
I mean, the New Day and the Street Profits, the New Day plus Street Profits equals comedy. I mean, it's basic. It's basic thugonomics.
Terrific.
He obviously didn't get his degree in thugonomics, Sheehan. Clearly he missed that.
I guess not.
Man.
We got to get you into a correspondence class.
In basic thugonomics.
You ain't nothing.
All right, speaking of fat, out walks Serena Sandhu.
Yes, excellent segue.
And she was accompanied by Charlotte Flair, and they took on Bayley and Natalya. Bayley continues to be one of the few people on the WWE roster that actually makes the most out of her time, win, lose, or draw. She comes out and she's like, "This is my show." Like, no, it isn't. But that's funny because you're a heel and you're saying something dumb to make people hate you. Got it. I love Bayley. Charlotte Flair, she's come back from being off television, so she's automatically a good guy with no personality. Natalya's there. And look, I don't want to be accused once again of body shaming the women. I've already body shamed the men. This isn't sexist. Okay? Guru Raj needs to... either be a monster or have abs.
One thing or the other, yep.
Yeah, you can't be in the middle and just be a pudgy nothing. So that brings me to Serena Sandhu, who is, again, supposed to be... She's like Indian Barbie, the way they described her. She's a dancer and a model and a doctor and an astronaut and a teacher. And, like, this just went on forever. And I'm like, I was waiting for her to come out like in a pink Corvette from her dream house. She was Indian Barbie. And I was watching her wrestle, and she was trying to, like, keep her body... sort of enveloped in the outfit that she was wearing. But whenever she would do something that involved, like, bending at the waist, you just saw Pillsbury dough rolls across her belly. And I'm like, again, don't mean to body shame, but could you work on your abs? Could you do some fucking sit-ups, maybe? Or don't have that part of your body showing. We had this discussion with the one with Deonna Purrazzo, where I said, either hide the less sightly parts of your body or put them in shape. One or the other. But don't show them to the crowd and be like, "Look at me, I'm out of shape." Terrific. That's it. That's all I got. It was a match.
I was blinded by inspiration, so I didn't notice any of it.
All right. Anyone else want to leave me hanging out to dry in my sexist opinions of women's bodies? Bayley, your thoughts, sir?
Man, this is the equivalent of you, going to like a shitty lingerie shop and coming home and handing them to Lily and go, "Hey, go wrestle a match." And that's the exact level of quality you're going to expect. You know what I mean? Like, it's just... She looked like a little girl coming out there who had no clue what a wrestling ring was. And you know how important it is with WWE that everybody has their signature pose. You know what I mean? You got Rhea Ripley come up and she crosses her hands and does her hand sign and does her little Brock Lesnar explosion. And, everybody's got their thing. She didn't seem like she had a clue what to do. She was like putting her hands to the side and doing a dance but wasn't really sure. And, oh, man. Like, just getting to the ring, I just wanted to, like, hide under the sheets and go, "Oh, God, somebody show this girl what to do, for God's sake." And like you said, like, it's not body shaming. It's like she seemed completely out of her element in her uniform and in her skin. It's almost like she was, I don't know, she belonged on a different show. She's not main event talent right now. She's not groomed. She didn't do particularly well in the match, and Charlotte literally covered her ass the entire time here. And, man, this was another one of those where you had to show respect to the Indian talent, and there was no talent on the other side with Charlotte. This was really bad, guys, like really, really bad.
Yeah, I was focusing on just her presentation, but you're right. And I almost feel like she was like, "I don't know what to do when I get out there. Like, what do I do?" And they're like, "I don't know, you're Indian. Do an Indian dance."
And she kept pointing at Charlotte going, "Okay, we're going to double team her on the outside now." And she'd point to the outside and Charlotte would be like, "What? Well, what do you want me to do?" It was embarrassing. Rewatch that match and just watch the interactions between her and Charlotte. It's so bad. And then she did her traditional Indian dance and Charlotte had to dance with her. I almost had to turn the TV off. I was on the elliptical and I almost fell off.
Cringe. Yeah. We should call her Indian Hartwell.
Sheehan, anything else about this match?
Sucked.
Very.
All right. So Indus Sher has at least been on television before.
Yeah.
Jinder Mahal.
As heels.
Okay. Well, it's an India. So they're doing an Indian special for Indians, so the Indians all had to be good guys, except for
Jinder.
Except for poor Jinder. Can we talk about this for a second? Because I wasn't really. When Jinder Mahal was the SmackDown champion, I wasn't watching all that much. That was when it was on whatever channel it was on before it moved to Fox, and it was on
USA Network.
Yeah,
or Sci-Fi. Sci-Fi was it?
I don't know. It was a while ago.
One of those.
Yeah, it's moved around a lot. It wasn't it wasn't on Fridays. B, it wasn't currently on Fox. So whatever channel it was on, I was doing something else. But I remember when this was going on, and you guys are a little bit better at remembering more recent history than I am. Like, people were saying, we're tired of the same people being pushed. Push new people. Push new people. Put the belt on somebody new. And I think everybody kind of had 2 or 3 guys they wanted in that spot on SmackDown. And the WWE's like, we hear you. We're going to push somebody new. We're going to put the belt on somebody new. Okay, Jinder Mahal. And they really ran with it for a while. Like, he was... And I remember I started paying attention, I think, just shortly after he got the title. I was certainly watching the big event, so, him and Randy Orton were in a feud during that period. And, they pushed him as, the big foreign menace heel. They gave him goons. They gave him the Bollywood boys. He's ripped to shreds. He looks huge. He has, a sneering villain-type face. They made the most out of very little with Jinder Mahal, and I feel like they did a good job with him. I know we tend to be kind of negative about the product on this show, but I'll pay a compliment when it's due. I always thought they pushed Jinder Mahal exactly how he should have been pushed, and they made the most with what little they had made of him being in 3-man band, and I liked it. But I know a lot of people were like, not who we meant. Not who we meant. We hate Jinder Mahal. Get him off TV. And there was this weird thing of that's not of the fans just having this really petulant reaction to it. We said this guy, and maybe you guys remember who this guy was, not fucking Jinder Mahal. So he wouldn't get accepted by the fans because he wasn't the right guy with the belt. But again, I always liked Jinder Mahal's heel championship run. And when he came out tonight with the Bollywood boys, I was like, I kind of miss this. He's one of the few guys, I think, on the entire roster that actually looks like a badass evil heel.
And then the bell rings.
Okay, so the problem is he can't wrestle. It's small.
I don't know that he can't wrestle. He's just boring.
Okay, just does basic stuff.
Yeah, he's just a boring guy.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of boring guys out there, but he is
a
boring guy.
I don't know if that's I don't know if that's just him.
No, it's the entire product. But I know a lot of folks were annoyed at his reign because it was like Jinder's off TV for 3 years, and he's back for 2 weeks and champion.
Okay.
Yep. Exactly.
It didn't feel organic. It didn't feel built. And of course, we know way too much about how the sausage is made, so we hear about all this wheeling and dealing in the Middle East and in India, and it's like, okay, well, we know what's happening now, and it's exactly what happened. I think that was a lot of the backlash. It wasn't exactly personal towards Jinder. It was more about the machine and how forced and how inorganic the entire build was here. It's just like, we need someone, and we bring Jinder Mahal on SmackDown, and 2 weeks later he's champion. And that was that. And his run was everything it needed to be. He was a cowardly heel, and he had heavies, and he had a Punjabi prison match, and it was everything it needed to be until they decided, oh, crap, we have a Survivor Series coming up, and we can't put him against Brock Lesnar, so they had him lose to AJ.
And then we had AJ lose to Brock Lesnar, because what fucking difference did it make?
Sure.
Actually, I think Jinder versus Brock would have made more better sense. Brock beats up the heavies, Brock beats up the main guy. I don't know what... Whatever. I'm not going to relitigate that.
It would have helped Jinder. It would have helped Jinder, put him in a different sort of level of rarefied air, but that's not what WWE is really interested in. They're not interested in making new stars. It was, it was a very politically motivated move, and it lost its luster by the time of Survivor Series, so they shifted gears like they do.
Okay, with context, that makes sense. I think that was the problem, is I didn't have a lot of context to what was going on with Jinder. So for me, I'm just watching him on television. I'm like, I don't understand why everyone hates this. This is wrestling. This is what we like. Why is what's this racist shit? Why can't he be the badass heel? Bailey, did you want to add to anything about our Jinder Mahal discussion here? My defense of Jinder Mahal.
Well, you got to think about it. So this is an age-old thing that they're doing. I mean, this is nothing new. For when WWE gets it in their mind that they need to appeal to a certain type
demographic
of or a certain race or something, they jump all over it. I mean, this goes right back to Bruno Sammartino trying to bring the Italians to Madison Square Garden. You know what I mean? When they needed a Hispanic, of course, they all of a sudden Pedro Morales got the gold dripping all over him back in the day. I mean, it's an age-old thing that they did. I don't understand what they were doing with the Iron Sheik in the 80s, but hey, whatever. We'll go he wasn't trying to sell network subscriptions, but he was, the conduit to get Hulkamania over. So all good. And I think that's where Mahal fell, too. And, the Bollywood boys and his little group there. So WWE had the WWE Network launching over in India. It had to be a big deal, this big launch. So, of course, you want to stick, the title on one of their own, you know what I mean, to really drive some sales. But was the Mahal experiment worthwhile? I would say no. I think it literally put a mid-card jobber who didn't have that main event transition into a place where
it cheapened the title for sure.
Yeah, he really wasn't ready for it. But if they gave him 3 months of build prior to this, it would have made a little bit more sense. But nope, he came back straight from Jobber City, 3MB, and went right to the strap. You know what I mean? It didn't make sense. Now, in Mahal's benefit, when he became champion, he owned that thing, man. I mean, he was ripped to shreds. He was in the best condition. He wrestled the best matches that he could pull out of himself, and he was literally his best self. So this was not a Mahal thing. This was an agenda thing by WWE, and it was a real shame because there's something with Mahal. He's a talent, man. I've got nothing but good to say about that guy, and he's definitely the standout, Indian star of this entire show here.
Yeah. And that all makes sense. I mean, I didn't realize that he went directly from 3MB to quick throw the belt on him. We're going to India. And you're absolutely right.
3MB to fired to the
belt. Oh, that old thing. Fired.
Yeah, he had that pit stop and fired.
Yeah, no, do you remember why he was fired, Sheehan?
No, I don't. Because he sucked.
I accidentally got injured, and then I came back and I was injured again, and fired.
Did he show up on Impact?
Did Mahal show up on Impact? I don't think he did. Maybe this is when they
might be the only one.
Higher talent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as I was saying, Drew McIntyre currently doing I'm William Wallace from Braveheart gimmick.
Ugh.
Yuck. So remember how I said that somebody over at AEW was like, Sting paints his face, Darby Allin paints his face, put them together. They both paint their faces. It's the same mentality in the WWE. So you're from Scotland, yeah? Great, you're William Wallace. Get out there with this fucking sword. What? That's all we know about Scotland, by the way. By the way, if you want to read a great book about Scotland, read how Scotland invented the modern world. It's an amazing book, and I learned so much from it. It's more than Scotland, more than just Braveheart, you fucking idiots. Anyway.
Uncle Scrooge, right?
That too. Drew McIntyre teamed up with The Indusher, Rinku and Sour Patch, yeah. Take on the aforementioned Jinder Mahal and the Bollywood Boys, and this actually looked like a fun WWE colorful, 2021 match. I think all of these guys have been on regular television. All of these guys have been wrestling for a while on somewhere orbiting the top tier or in the top tier. So no obvious errors in this match. I felt like the Indusher would have made a bigger impact if like three other guys weren't dressed the same as them earlier on in the night. Mm-hmm. They come out looking like the two big massive Indian badass dudes wearing all black again. And it's like, okay, like that present, like they're the Indian authors of pain. And that wouldn't be okay if fucking Dilsher Shanky and Giant Zangier and Guru Raj all didn't come out wearing something similar. It's like, can we not get a seamstress here to put some color on these folks so that every single one of them doesn't look the fucking same? Oh, look, here comes a bearded Indian man wearing black. And another one. And another one. And did the WWE go to the cloning factory? What the fuck? So, Drew McIntyre and the Bad Batch defeated Jinder Mahal and the Bollywood Boys, and it was fine. Sheehan?
It was fine. Yeah, I don't know why. Like, in the graphic leading up to it, it's like, and Ric Flair will be in the Indus Sher's corner. Why?
Because Ric Flair lost his keys, and he couldn't find his car in the parking lot, and they're like, this way, Rick.
Oh! Yeah, we got something for you.
I'm on stage again!
And I wonder what happened to that Malcolm Bivens guy. I thought he was the manager for Indus Sher, wasn't he?
Not when they need star power.
Not on Earth 2, right? Not on Earth 2. But this was just a match. Everything you said is totally valid here. These guys, I was actually going to say they were the Indian authors of pain, because that's exactly how they feel like when they're on NXT, and that's definitely how they felt like here, even though they were baby faces in this role. Just a match. This was velocity, heat, wrestling challenge. Nothing to write home about. Really nothing to get excited about.
Bailey?
You want me to book this match properly for you?
Yes.
I'm going to anyway. Here we go. So, picture Madison Square Gardens. It's Diesel. It's Bob Backlund. You know what I mean? Diesel kills Bob Backlund, becomes the champion. A couple months later, he's dressed as Santa Claus as the company pitchman. Drew McIntyre is that clown right now. So he had the honor of, being the company spokesman and introducing, and in his words now, in this shit. What? What did he say? Nobody has a clue what Drew McIntyre just said.
Did he just say indoor shorts?
Yes, I think he did. But anyway, so this match, listen, I know this exists in what Sheehan calls Earth 2, where none of this matters. At the end of the day, nothing ties in. But a savvy person who's actually booking could have made some, lemonade out of this bag of lemons here. So here's my proposal. So halfway through the match, Drew McIntyre goes to kill one of, Mahal with that stupid Claymore kick. Then all of a sudden, Indus Sher attacks him, and he's part of, Mahal's clique. And now you got a 5-man beatdown. You know what I mean? Out comes Goldberg, spears a couple guys. Mahal and his brand new crew runs out victorious because they just, they pinned one of McIntyre's gang, or even himself. And then, of course, him and Goldberg runs them off, and then they have the stare down. And then you're all set for the Rumble. So, boom. It makes sense. You get the Indian talent over. You do something with Mahal. He means something, but nope. Here we go. Claymore kick. Boom. Mahal's done. And this whole pay-per-view and just every Indian wrestler could just bow their head in shame at this disaster of an introduction to the company that was the Superstar. It's not even a spectacle. It's the Superstar shit show, because this was crap.
Yeah, I think the WWE no longer cares about their in-ring product. There's no other explanation. It was because they literally went into this going, "Hey, we have to do a special for India featuring some Indian talent, and we'll mix them with some of our American talent, and we'll give them like a big wrestling show." Nobody's ready. Nobody. we might have Indus Sher. That's it. Everybody else is like first year in the Performance Center, not yet ready for television. Nobody cares. Put them on television.
It's literally week 1 of wrestling class that we're seeing here. Like, okay, guys, headlock, off the ropes, shoulder block to the canvas. Like, that's where we are. That's where we are in these guys' career. They're no further.
But that's my point. They don't seem to care.
No. Man.
I don't know what they're trying to do. Like, are they trying to sell a show? Are they trying to sell India on a television show? Is this all it would take? I mean, I think that's kind of a disservice to Indian wrestling fans to be like, okay, well, this is what you guys are getting, because you'll take it. because it's all you got. I didn't see Ring Ka King back in the day when when Jeff Jarrett and Impact were doing that the Indian League, but I'd have to assume that was a little bit better than this, right?
Oh man, Ring Ka King! You look back at those shows; those shows were packed to the rafters. Mm-hmm. And I mean, TNA talent when they came out, like Samoa Joe and all those people, they were elevated gods. I'm telling you right now, what a presentation! Even Jeff Jarrett, you'd swear to God, this was Hulk Hogan circa 1987, Andre the Giant. It was like, wow, that's how you present a product. This
was an afterthought. Yeah, this was an afterthought. And to play off of Bailey's, booking there, the guest booking there, you have Indus or Import Beer or whoever we're calling them. They team up with Jinder and the guys. Then you have them beating down Drew, and then you bring out the other Indian talent, the baby faces. So then you have them come out to Drew's rescue. So then you actually have feuds if this is going to be a league. You have Rama? Who was the guy who got forearmed? The hell was that
Raja.
guy?
Guru Raja?
Bring Guru out too. Bring them all out. Have them fight against Jinder. Then you have maybe you can have an NXT Indian title. You can do whatever the hell you want, but you'll establish some of these guys on different sides of the playing field here, rather than all being the inspirational gods to the people of India, which is boring.
Yeah. Not a single one of them was like, you know what? Fuck India. It's a dirty place with a billion dirty people. You know, you want to know where COVID-19 came from? The fucking Indian streets. It's wrong, but they could have said it.
What? Where are we going? I'm out here.
But that's my point.
You guys cut out there. I didn't hear the last 35 seconds.
The Indian people are a bunch of backward third world, like just fucking anything. Like have a guy come out with a goddamn attitude who's thank God I'm out of India. Like you can't have Jinder Mahal do it. He's the modern day Maharaj, all right? So he's the big foreign menace. There's not one guy that's like I left India, came to America, and made $1 million, and he fucking shows up in a Corvette. Like have just like an Indian guy.
Girlfriend.
Yeah, have him come in. Oh my God, how good would that have been if one of these guys came out in like sunglasses with his taco meat hanging out and with a blonde white woman on his side, and he's like, "Fuck India! How about that? These fucking Indian nuts."
With his taco meat.
Just something. Nope, they're all just so happy to be there.
Mm-hmm. They just like to have fun.
Yep, they're an inspiration, like you said.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well,
man,
it was fun to talk about, and it was 90 minutes of my life. Well, when I first got up this morning and drank my coffee, that it's fine. Killed part of my day. Gave me and my two friends here something to talk about. But other than that, I mean, I guess I don't know how well this will be appreciated amongst the crowd it was meant for. But if it was widely appreciated, I have to wonder, like why so little excites them. Like why in 2021 is this an acceptable product to anybody? But I guess it is.
It's not like they don't have the internet, right? I mean, they can watch Raw, they can watch AEW, they can watch Impact. I don't know why they would accept something like this. This seems like a grand disservice and selling an entire people short just to put out a little bit of content and differentiate in some sort of way, stake a claim in a country that maybe other companies haven't done yet. It's very weird.
I'll tell you this. There was talk of the WWE trying to do the same kind of routine here, but in Japan.
Yep, I remember
not while New Japan still exists, they're not. There's no way, because if this is the level of the kind of television they're going to produce in Japan, where they've already got New Japan Pro Wrestling among other things, no one would watch this. Nobody.
Well, it's reminiscent of in the late '90s when they did the Super Astros show on either Univision or Telemundo, because WCW was burning it up with the cruiserweights, and then they did this Me Too thing with AAA, and it was like all these old codgers who couldn't couldn't really keep up with the Mysterios and the what's his face, the Super Colos and even like the Silver Kings. They couldn't keep up with them. They were old. They were slow. I think they had Hector Garza, who was a standout, and that was about it.
So then they had El Fantasmo Supremo Senior.
Yeah, and then they'd send like the fake Razor and Diesel down there. It's like this is the investment you're going to give in growing your reach and growing your brand. Why even bother if you're not even going to try? And that's very much that's like my last word on the Superstar Spectacle. They didn't even try. Usually we could be like, well, at least you tried. No, not this time. They didn't.
All right, Bailey, anything else? Otherwise, then we're going to close up shop.
No, man, that's enough of this, because you know what? When we're all on our deathbeds, we are going to curse when our kids tell us, Dad, just hang on for another hour and a half, and you're going to remember that we had to cover this shit. Then we're coming after Sheehan for recommending it.
No, I'm good. Look, if there's one thing I've learned about podcasting is when you love something or you're lukewarm on it, nobody cares, nobody wants to listen to you. When you fucking hate something, though, oh boy, do the people come out of the woodwork. So,
listen, I got to spend an hour with you guys, so it was worth it. There you go.
All right, next week is the Royal Rumble review. It'll be us three plus, in theory, Sean Comer. He said he wants to review the Rumble with us, so if he makes it to the show, great. It'll be us four discussing the 2021 Royal Rumble from the Trop. And then myself and Bailey will be back later in the week to do the grand nuptials, the wedding. It's finally here, Bailey. It's finally here. Penelope Ford is marrying the beautiful, the handsome, the wonderful, the athletic. He's so happy to be here. Wait, no. It's Kip Sabian. And the best man, Miro, who says if he's not world champion in AEW, he quits the business. He's going to take his ball and go home. Yeah.
Sin.
What, does he have any more companies he can go to so he can cry about the last one he was at? Are there any of those left?
There's always more companies to go to. That's the thing I'm learning. It's how small do you want to go?
He'll be like in MLW complaining about how Jimmy's Backyard Wrestling Fed wouldn't give him the belt.
Wrestling Jacob Fatu, because Jacob Fatu is apparently never leaving MLW, unfortunately.
Yeah, if you've seen Jacob Fatu, that's listen. We talk about untapped talent. That's the guy right there. Check out MLW. You'll see what the noise is.
All right. So that's new as far as wrestling goes. That's what we got going on in the very near future. We reviewed The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, the last 3 issues of the comic book that came out. We reviewed the last season of the show. Jesse and I reviewed Labyrinth, Welcome to the Absurd Circus. Saturday, we should be doing a alternative commentary for Caleb Plant versus Caleb Truax on Fox. Next week, Cole Marantet is going to help me review All Hail Megatron. My Damn You Hollywood returns, but we're looking at a Netflix movie, the one with Anthony Mackie called Outside the Wire. And then we'll close out the week with a review of Weezer, OK Human, and AEW Beach Break. So that's what's going on there. Chris Sheehan, what do you got going on?
X-Laps still. Over at chrisandreggie.podbean.com and chrisisoninfiniteearth.com. You can find me on Twitter at Ace Comics.
Bailey, take me home, baby doll.
You can find me over on the Twitter at Charlton_hero. I'm no longer on the parlor, so I can't use that joke anymore, even though it wasn't funny the first 500 times I told it. Then you can find me on my episode 2 of the Superhero Satellite Podcast of 4. It's only a limited series because that's all you get. And this episode just came out today. It's all about toys and vintage toy collecting. So if you're into toys from the 70s and 80s, you're going to want to check that out too. So that's a little bit of fun. Otherwise, I'm over here on the W2M network hanging out with Chris and Marcus right here on TV Party Tonight. So that's Chris Bailey.
All right, folks, thanks for joining us on our review of WWE Superstar Spectacle. For the Podsmen, Chris Bailey and Chris Sheehan, I'm Mark Radulich. Be well, be safe, and behave.